You must be patient during this time of cleaning up your credit. I'm going to explain to you why patience is so key, so stay tuned. My name is Jay, and welcome to Ask a Debt Collector. Now, I've been in the debt collection industry for over 15 years. I've done it all, from skip tracing to collecting to management, and I've owned 2 debt collection agencies. For the past 8 years, I've been the go-to guy for friends and family for questions regarding debt and credit, and now I want to be that person for you. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. Let's go. Welcome back. We are going to talk about the importance of having patience with regards to cleaning up your credit. If you haven't had time, please like and subscribe. Share this with your friends and family so that more and more people can get this knowledge and this information to help you guys out with building your credit. Over the course of my life, I've had 2 times where I've cleaned up my credit, right? The first time that I cleaned up my credit was early, probably like in 2007 or 8. And I didn't understand credit fully at this time. Only thing I had on my credit report, I remember hearing, I was working at a company, a debt collection company, and I remember hearing 2 of the collectors talking about cleaning up their credit. They both owned homes, and they were just talking about, disputing stuff off of their credit report because they both wanted to refinance their homes. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, this was in 2005 because this was before the housing crash or anything along those lines. So this is around 2005. They were talking about cleaning up their credit. 2 friends. They're talking about disputing stuff off of their credit report. And I sat and I listened to what they were saying. I was basically ear hustling because I was relatively new to that department, so I didn't really know them that well. But they were saying stuff about disputing stuff off of your credit report. And so I remember getting a copy of my credit report. I don't remember how I got a copy of my credit report back then, but I got a copy of my credit report, and when I pulled it up, I didn't have anything, but I did have probably about $6,000 or $7,000 in medical bills that I had. And the story of getting that is a whole different situation that I'll share with you guys at another time. But nevertheless, I disputed those accounts. I remember disputing those accounts. They fell off of my credit. And that was that. That's all that I had at the time. And initially, I had to go down to a car dealership. I went to a pot lot, and I got a car. I didn't know what my FICO score was even at that time span. And, I got approved for a car. It was a Honda Sonata, a 2000 probably 2 or something along those lines. It was like a $6,000 or $7,000 car. I ended up financing it. It was almost like $11,000, and I paid those payments. I believe my payments, were around like $250 or something around those lines. I played that for a while, and that was the first thing that I had to establish my credit. Still not understanding it. I did pay off that car pretty much. And then I remember when I went to the pot lot again, not a pot lot. I actually went to a car dealership. Was one that my cousin worked at, and we were looking at cars, and I remember his boss saying to him like, hey man, I know this is your cousin, because he could see we both had the same last name. He thought we were playing around. He's like, hey man, you come in here testing cars, or is he actually gonna buy? And they ran my credit, and I think I had like a 680 at the time, and they were impressed. And 680 to me is not the best, but they probably expecting me to have like in the low 5s or something along those lines. And I got approved for a Dodge Charger in 2008. So it was about 3 or 4 years after that time span. Paid on that car forever. And then, nevertheless, things went bad. My credit went bad, a divorce and all that type of thing. And then over the last 2 years, I rebuilt my credit this time around. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of patience. And I finally got, to the threshold of where I wanted to be as far as my credit goes. I figured I would tell you that story. Hopefully I wasn't running on and on with regards to that, but I want you to understand that during the process of this second time around, because the first time I didn't really pay attention. I didn't understand. That's probably why I got in trouble again with my credit. But the second time around, over the course of, like the last 3 years, I've built my credit up to where I want it to be. And it's going to take more time. But it took some patience. It took a lot of, disputing. It took a lot of settlements. It took a lot of things in order to get myself back to where I needed to be. And so that's the thing. So let's talk about why it's important for you to have patience with regards to cleaning up your credit. Number one, you got to remember, a lot of times it took time to mess up your credit, right? Whether you had credit cards or you didn't have credit cards or whatever the circumstance is, if your credit is very low, a lot of times, whether it's, installment loans that you may have got, credit cards that you may have defaulted on, obviously, as we know, SDG&E, bills that you may have had, credit, cell phone bills, and those types of things that may have messed up. And typically, before something is put on your credit, where it's showing it's been charged off and sent to collections, it takes 6 months. So if you had a credit card, a Capital One credit card, and you didn't pay it 1 month, it'll just show on your credit report as a late payment. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Eventually, they'll realize you're not going to pay it. They'll charge it off, or they may even keep it and send it to a debt collection agency to try and collect it from you. But there's a process with regards to you taking as much time to mess up your credit. So a lot of times, a lot of those things, snowball effects happen, you lose your job, whatever the circumstances, it takes you a lot of time. So it takes you time to mess up your credit. And then a lot of times you get people who are impatient, and once they finally get the game of cleaning up their credit, they're expecting their credit to be cleaned in 30 days and to be right back on track. It's not realistic. It's going to take you, I would say, anywhere from 6 months to a year, depending on how messed up your credit is, but that's what it is. Another reason why you need to be patient is sometimes with disputing an account on your credit report. If you dispute one account, typically when you dispute it with the credit bureaus, they're going to give you an update. And typically they'll give you an update within 20 to 45 days, depending on who you're disputing and how it happens. Sometimes around 30 days. So most companies are only going to dispute 3 items at a time. So you dispute those 3 items, you got to wait about 30 days to get a response. Once you get a response at that time span, either the account being deleted or the account was verified, is what they call it, you may have to send out a second, a third, and sometimes even a 4th letter. And you got to understand, each time you do that, it's going to take you about 30 days in order to get stuff taken care of. So let's say you have 20 negative items on your credit report. You're doing them at 3 a pop or 4 a pop, maybe max 5 a pop. It's going to take you basically 4 months to get through all of those accounts disputing just with the first letter. And of course, some of those accounts will come off the first time. Some of them will take 4 letters in order to come out. So just be patient with what it is that you're doing as you're doing it. Whether you're hiring a company, which you can use me if you need some help, askadebtcollector at barrettrecovery.com, or you're doing it yourself, it's going to take some time, okay? Another reason why is when you're building your credit, understand something. When you're building your credit, obviously, let's say you had a 480 FICO score. You had 20 items on your credit report, but you had nothing establishing credit, just all negative accounts. I've seen a lot of people in that situation, and I've been in that situation. You disputed. Let's say you got all 20 of those accounts off your credit report like they were never there. Then you may look at your FICO score and it may not show a report, or you may have something around a 580, 600 credit score. Then comes the time that, now understand, disputing all those 20 accounts could have taken you up to a year to 2 years to get it all taken off your credit report. Now you apply for a credit card, whether it's a secured credit card, which is dealing with people who are starting out, or a regular credit card. Then you have to look at the aspect of the timing, right? So if you got a credit card, it'll take you 6 months to a year of actually paying that credit card. And it's going to take a lot of patience of doing that. You got a car loan. Typically, most car loans are anywhere from 3 years to 6 to 7 years of financing. They do it in the month time span. And once you pay that car off in that time span, 6 months, you've built and established credit during that time span. You have revolving credit cards, 6 to 10 years of actually making those payments trying not to have any late payments or skipping any payments, making them on time to get yourself in the upper echelons of the 8 to 850 credit scores. It's going to take you 5, 6, 7 years. There are some shortcuts to get through it. Obviously, having an authorized user, somebody who has a credit card that's had a credit card for over 10 years in good standings, and they put you as an authorized user on that card. That is an option, and it'll show your credit history a little longer. But when creditors look at your credit report, they see that you're an authorized user on that card. For all they know, you just got on that card. And so you got to have a credit card. You got to have installment loans, personal loans, all of those types of things over a course of 5 to plus years in order to get yourself in the upper echelons, which means what? It's going to take patience, right? You're going to have to be patient in this game to get to where you want to get. And if you're disciplined and patient, you'll get to where you want to get, and you'll save yourself a tremendous amount of money. So always remember, in this credit journey, you must have patience, okay? If you have any questions, put them down in the comments section. I promise I'll answer those questions. If you want to email me at askadebtcollector@barrettrecovery.com. I'll put that down in the comment sections. And as always, you be great.